I think we live in a loneliness epidemic, but when you're suffering, especially in this age of Instagram, where everyone is posting a highlights reel of
Mhm.
their life, there can be this sense that you are the only person who is suffering in that particular way, and that everyone else seems to be able to somehow survive and to get it together better than you. And so it was a pretty, you know, extraordinary experience for me after spending so many years in confinement to thrust myself not only out into the greater expanses of the world, but onto the porches and into the guest rooms of these perfect strangers. Because I think what happens when we dare to share our most unvarnished stories of vulnerability is that, of course, we learn that we're more alike than we are different. And being vulnerable is not comfortable for me. I don't know that it's comfortable for anybody. I had a Post-it note on my desk when I returned from that road trip and began writing that said, if you want to write a good book, write what you don't want others to know about you. If you want to write a great book, write what you don't want to know about yourself. My first drafts are often full of lies. Not intentional lies, but aspirational lies. Or here's the story I want to believe. And so I know that I'm doing my job right when I feel that sense of discomfort. So before I went on that road trip, I was actually interviewing Cheryl for a piece that ended up being killed, so it never came out, about mentors. And at the end of our conversation, inadvertently, she became, a mentor to me when she asked me what it was that I was working on. And I said, I really want to write a book, but I don't want to write about illness. I'm trying to move on from that. I don't want to be a sick person. I don't want to be pigeonholed as a sick person. Whatever it is I write about, it's got to be about something other than illness. And she said to me, the funny thing about that is that when I went to go write Wild, famous memoir about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, I told myself, whatever it is that I write about, I don't want to write about my dead mother.
Right.
And of course, Wild is the story of that hike, but it's also the story of grieving her dead mother. And the point that I took away from that is that as long as there is a question that is pushing at the edges of your mind, as long as there's something that you're trying to figure out, you have no business trying to avoid it until you've written your way through it. And so my book, Between Two Kingdoms, was about this road trip. But of course, it was all about the struggle of not only falling ill, but figuring out who I was in the aftermath of that and figuring out how to carry, what had happened forward with me.